Hey guys, this is another review of a single issue. This is issue 1 of the new Legion of Superheroes. This is the famous and infamous 5 years later run on the Legion of Superheroes, co-plotted and drawn by Keith Giffen and written by Tom and Mary Bierbaum, the husband-wife writing team. These guys mostly tackled dialogue, and he did overall plots and then the drawing stuff. And then I don't know what all Al Gordon did. I tried reading this run of comics a few years ago. I got about 8 issues in, and I just wasn't able to understand it. None of it made any sense to me at all. I had a lot of trouble just deciphering very basic stuff like what was going on in the series. I reread this issue. I thought it held up very well. I understood everything that was going on here. Now, it could be that as the series goes on, it will get more and more confusing. I think part of the problem when I tried to read this run the last time was that I didn't know very much about the Legion of Superheroes. Basically, I knew that they were a team of teenage superheroes who first appeared in a Superboy story in the late 1950s. That's about all I knew. Now I know quite a bit more about their history. I'm not going to say that I am an expert, but I feel like being an expert in the Legion is definitely preferable if you're going to try and read this run of comic books. I'm not going to say you absolutely have to be an expert, because the first era of the Legion, from their introduction all the way to Zero Hour, that is still the era of the Legion that I am the least familiar with. So I don't think that my knowledge necessarily is that phenomenal in order to help me understand this. I think maybe it's just that I was more suited to read this, I think. And basically, this comic is Ghostbusters 2. It's 5 years after the previous Legion story, just like Ghostbusters 2 was 5 years later, and the team has been broken up, just like Ghostbusters 2. The difference is this is set in the year 3000, or it's near 3000. It's like 2995, I think. This is in the 30th century, early 31st century maybe, and basically we're getting to see kind of the everyday lives of 2 or 3 of the Legion members. We find out that about 4 years before this comic, the Legion disbanded. We get some documents at the end of the issue that's very much like The Watchmen. If you have never seen this series, we get stuff like this. Like this is a letter from the president to, I guess, the Congress of Planet Earth, and then this is a letter from the Legion of Superheroes leader to the president, and then that's a Daily Planet article. And that reminded me a lot of The Watchmen, which came out about, I want to say 3 or 4 years before this. So this definitely owes a lot to The Watchmen, because that series you would have at the end of each issue a text piece that is kind of exploring what this world is like. And these text pieces here, they show us stuff that we would not be able to find out if we were just reading the comic book stuff in this issue. So I really appreciated that. I don't remember if I read all of the text pieces the last time I tried to read this run. I'm definitely going to do that this time, because I think that will help me appreciate the backstory of this run a lot more. Other than that, we had 2 or 3 members of the team, or the former team of Legionnaires, and this is one of them, Cosmic Boy, one of the original 3. Somehow he doesn't have his powers. I don't know how. He also lives on the planet Braille, which is Braal. This is the planet right here. And at some point in the 5-year gap, his planet was at war with Microlass, or Atom Girl's planet. Shrinking Violet, that's her name. She's gone through all of those different code names, and his planet was at war with her planet. We don't know much about it, but it seems that his planet lost, because Braillians are not allowed to leave the planet, or if they are under restrictions. So it seems like his planet lost, and we don't know much else about it. He is also married to one of his former teammates, Nightlass, or Night Girl. She is pregnant, and basically we just kind of get to see how the post breakup of the team has affected some of these people. Like, that's Shrinking Violet, and she's basically a wreck. She was in the military. She was very unhappy with something that happened. Probably it had something to do with the war with Braille, and she has been dishonorably discharged, and that's about all we know. And then the only other character that we get any good look at all is Chameleon Boy, or Chameleon Lad, and he is going to restart the Legion. He has been away running his father's company, and he is going to bring the dream back together. That's basically it. We get to see Chameleon Boy, Cosmic Boy, and Microlass, or Shrinking Violet, rather. So we don't really get to see a whole lot in this issue, but at the same time, this issue does do quite a bit. It shows us what the status quo is. This entire issue basically exists to show us the status quo, and at the very end of the issue, this is a slight spoiler, we do get to see that at least 2 members of the team are willing to try and make this thing work once again. So, on the one hand, I was thinking while I was reading it, wow, not a lot is really happening here. But you know what? At the same time, quite a bit is being done here in just 22, 23 pages. So I definitely am pretty excited to read this series. I'm going to try and read roughly 1 issue every other day, something like that. So I'm looking forward to reading this. I hope that it holds up a lot better than it did the last time that I read this series. So I would definitely recommend, if you are in a Legion of Superheroes mood, if you feel comfortable with your knowledge of the Legion of Superheroes, I would recommend reading this comic book. Go find it at your local comic book shop. Unfortunately, DC Comics has not collected this run. There is a whole lot of Legion stories that have not been collected, and one that shocked me a lot was that this run has not been collected, because every fan of the Legion of Superheroes will tell you that this run is crucial, and I am really looking forward to reading it. So that's about all I have to say here. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope that you guys will check this series out if you can find it in the back issues. That is about all I have to say here. I hope you guys have a great rest of the day. I'll catch you later.